In my former book, Theophilus, I wrote about all that Jesus began to do and to teach. That's how Luke begins his book, The Acts of the Apostles, one of the books in the New Testament. The book is a sequel to the Gospel of Luke. So Luke wrote the Gospel of Luke, and then he wrote the Acts of the Apostles. At the end of the Gospel of Luke, as we thought a few weeks ago at Easter time, you'll know the story. Jesus was crucified on the cross, he died, he was buried in the tomb, and then 3 days later he rose again from the dead. He showed himself alive to his disciples and to his followers, and then he ascended back to heaven to be with his Father. And you might think, well, that's the end of the story. That's what we know about Jesus. He was alive, he showed people about God, he died, he was buried, he rose again, and he ascended back to heaven. But the story doesn't end there. And that's how Luke begins his book, by saying that all that Jesus began to do and to teach, he's still doing and teaching the same things. Jesus is still busy and he's still active in the world today. And you might be thinking, well, how is that? If Jesus is in heaven, how can he be active in the world today? Well, that's what the Acts of the Apostles is about. That's what Luke's sequel is about. It's about how Jesus is still active in the world through his church, through his people, and also through the power of the Holy Spirit who is in the world today. And we're going to be thinking about that at Townhead Christian Fellowship and on Sundays at 1 o'clock over the next few months. We're going to be thinking about the Acts of the Apostles, and we're going to be thinking about Jesus active in the world today. What is the church? What does it do? Who is the Holy Spirit? What does he do? How is Jesus changing lives today? And we'd like you to come along and hear about that. If you're free on a Sunday at 1 o'clock, please come along to our Sunday service and hear about the Acts of the Apostles, hear from Luke about how Jesus is still active in the world today. You'd be more than welcome to come along. We are, as Christians, we're followers of Jesus. We believe that Jesus is alive and that he still changes lives today through the power of his Holy Spirit. And that's what we're going to be finding out about over the next few months. So please come along and find out more.